Celebrate endings, for they precede new beginnings. Hi, I'm Fredicia Liebert. Welcome to this special edition of the Nevis Newscast, our year in review highlighting major happenings in the NIA in 2020. The Nevis Island Administration's year 2020 commenced with Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, urging all to raise the level of national discourse as he made his New Year address.
I implore us to season our comments with kindness, respect, and love. Let us value each other, and let us commit ourselves to being our brother's keeper. Let us pledge to solve our issues and misunderstandings in a social and political environment characterized by empathy and tolerance. I sincerely hope that 2020 will prove to be a peaceful, productive, and prosperous year for all of us.
The Honourable Joseph Parry, Parliamentary Representative for St. Thomas's Lowlands, retired from active politics as of January 1st. When the NIA's cabinet met on January 8th for the first time for 2020, Premier the Honourable Mark Brantley extended best wishes to former Premier Parry.
I wanted to take an opportunity on behalf of the cabinet to extend best wishes to Mr. Parry on his new journey, to thank him for the years of service that he has given to the people of St. Thomas's and to the people of Nevis. He has served in various capacities as a Minister of Government, both at the federal level and at the local level. He has served as the Premier of Nevis, the highest office in Nevis. He has served as a member of the opposition. And I believe that on any measure, he would have made a contribution over the past 3 decades plus.
When the NIA's cabinet convened on January 8th for the first meeting for the new year, also present was Reverend Marcia Tomlinson, who invoked God's presence with a prayer.
I thought it important that this being not only the first cabinet of the year, but of the decade, that we invite Reverend Tomlinson, who's here, to say a prayer for us and to get us off on the right foot, as we have often. And here it's a regular practice that each cabinet we invite God's presence in terms of what we do, and seek to have God being a part of everything that we do in terms of our decision-making process.
In January, the Nevis Disaster Management Department received a second consignment of equipment courtesy of the Japan International Cooperation Systems project, complementing an initial consignment which was received in 2019.
This last shipment included our tarpaulins, so we are now prepared for hurricane season, some generators. We have radio communications equipment and fire service equipment as well. So we are pleased, and we are here just to show not only the Premier but the people of Nevis what we have received.
Early in 2020, a new CEO, Jadine Yard, was appointed to lead the Nevis Tourism Authority.
I'm advised that she is American-born and has Barbadian and Grenadian citizenship. She has lived in the United States, in Boston and New York, for the majority of her life before moving to Barbados and working in tourism, marketing, and entertainment. She has been a consultant in both Barbados and Grenada. She has worked with the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. and has been involved in the development of Limitless Concierge Service, which is a Barbadian Grenadian-based concierge service. She has over 10 years' experience in marketing, tourism, and entertainment. She holds a BSc in marketing, and we feel that she brings to the table a creative vision for the future of Nevis's tourism industry, an analytic tourism outlook, a strong digital marketing mindset, and a clear understanding of how important a business digital footprint is.
The Ministry of Agriculture launched its 10K tree planting initiative on January 29th. The aim was to plant 10,000 trees across the island during 2020.
We'll start with the St. Thomas's, we'll move along through other schools on the island of Nevis, our coastlines and other key areas where we think are being degraded in a way to plant some of these trees.
Despite setbacks due to COVID-19, some 6,000 trees were planted. The new $11.2 million Treasury and Inland Revenue Department building complex was officially opened on January 30th, 2020, some 6 years after the original building was gutted by fire in January 2014.
Bottom floor right would be the offices of the Treasury Department. Bottom floor left would host the offices of the Cashiering and Taxpayer Services of the Inland Revenue Department. First floor right will host the offices of the Property Tax Division and the Administration Division of the Inland Revenue Department. First floor left would host the offices of the Auditing Division of the Inland Revenue Department. The second floor will be allocated to the Collections Unit and also the Information Technology or our local IT department. The building is also equipped with a large conference room which can serve as a meeting room for a number of government activities. Right at the top, the final floor, which is an open loft, would serve as a lunch room and recreational areas for staff, and also can be used for private parties to be hosted by ministers of government, with a capacity not exceeding 50 persons.
In February, the Department of Physical Planning, with the assistance of Open Plan consultants through the UNDP, began the process of revising the Nevis Physical Development Plan.
We're here to undertake with the local planning team a review of the draft development plan for Nevis to bring us up to date, to ensure that it is, if you like, fit for purpose, with particular emphasis on two aspects, which are biodiversity and climate change and all its implications. So we need to make sure that the plan is going to underpin the resilience of the island as we move forward.
UNESCO World Heritage specialists Barry Gamble and Paul Simons visited the island in February to assist with developing a World Heritage site on Nevis.
Being here for the first time to see the Bath Hotel and the thermal springs and then Fort Charles with Barry. What is clear is there is fantastic opportunity here. There are terrific resources, natural resources and cultural resources in the architectural heritage of the place, and we are here to assist. We're here to help with the ministers to develop some further capacity here for heritage management, the protection of the heritage, and how that can be used for a sustainable future as we go forward.
The Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, NHLDC, held the grand opening of the Cohoon Manor Road on February 13th. The concrete road, measuring approximately 1,140 feet in length and 16 feet in width, includes drainage, walkways, and entranceways for residents of Phase 2 of the Cohoon Housing Development.
Over the past few years, building a home has been a joy and a challenge. The challenge came in the form of an unpaved road. It was a sore to the eyes in comparison to the beautiful houses in the neighborhood. But today, we are overwhelmed to say that our paved roads, walkways, and driveways have come in a timely manner, and we truly enjoy such luxuries, and we say thanks.
On February 27th, Premier the Honourable Mark Brantley announced that a committee has been put in place to look at providing non-established workers with retirement benefit packages.
Public Works and Water Department, Ministry of Health, we have a lot of those workers, and they've given tremendous service. But whereas when the public servants, the civil servants leave, they have pensions and that kind of thing. When the non-established workers or the auxiliary workers leave, they don't have any such arrangement. Well, we are seeking to fix that. And legislation was proposed in St. Kitts to deal with that at a federal level. A committee would have recently met under the chair of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Communication and Works, to look at the current practices in providing non-established workers with some type of retirement benefit package, and to make recommendations to the Cabinet to approve and formalize a written policy.
For the first time, a woman is the parliamentary representative for District 5, St. Thomas's, Lowlands, in the Nevis Island Assembly. The Honourable Cleone Stapleton Simmons made history on March 5th, emerging the winner of the by-election following the resignation of the Honourable Joseph Parry.
Mrs. Cleone Stapleton Simmons received 514 of the votes validly cast, while Mr. Keith Scarborough received 191 of the votes validly cast. Mrs. Cleone Stapleton Simmons, therefore, has been declared the winner of Nevis District 5.
On March 19th, Premier the Honourable Mark Brantley, in his second address on the threat of COVID-19, announced the cancellation of two major and highly anticipated events on Nevis.
The Cabinet of the NIA would have convened today under the chairmanship of the Honourable Alexis Jeffers as acting Premier, and has determined that in light of the strong recommendations of the primary sponsors and principal stakeholders, that this year's staging of the Inter-Primary Schools Championship, scheduled for April 1st, 2020, be postponed until further notice. The Cabinet has also accepted the recommendation that the Agricultural Open Day be postponed. At this point, consideration will be given to hosting the Agricultural Open Day in October 2020 as part of the World Food Day activities.
Schools in St. Kitts and Nevis closed with immediate effect on March 25th with the confirmation of cases of COVID-19 in the Federation.
As of 11:03 p.m. on Tuesday, March 24th, 2020, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis confirmed its first two cases of the novel coronavirus disease, COVID-19, in St. Kitts. Cabinet has accepted the recommendation of the Ministry of Health that schools be closed as at the end of school day today.
On March 26th, Premier the Honourable Mark Brantley announced that his cabinet, working with various statutory agencies owned by the NIA, has approved a number of initiatives for residents of Nevis adversely affected by COVID-19.
1. Property tax payments for the period June to September 2020 will be deferred. 2. Water payments for persons laid off over the period April to June 2020 will be waived. In other words, water for those affected workers over the next 3 months will be free. 3. Persons who have been laid off or who are on reduced hours can apply to social services for additional benefits, including the $500 poverty alleviation program. 4. Nevlec, our electricity company, will defer electricity payments for hotels, restaurants, and other businesses directly affected by this pandemic, and will reduce electricity bills by 50% for all workers laid off for an initial period of 3 months from April to June 2020. The Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation will waive all payments to the corporation for those homeowners paying the corporation for an initial period of 3 months from April to June 2020. Hospital and related fees for anyone sick from the coronavirus will also be waived at this time.
The NIA Cabinet also made additional concessions for farmers and fishers and financial service providers. A state of emergency for St. Kitts and Nevis was declared by Governor General His Excellency Sir Tapley Seaton on March 28th at the request of Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Timothy Harris.
All citizens and residents will be subject to a curfew between the hours of 7 p.m. and 5 a.m. each day for the next 14 days. The Emergency Powers COVID-19 regulations provide for every person to remain confined to their place of residence, inclusive of their yard space, to avoid contact outside of their family.
On March 30th, the Nevis COVID-19 Task Force reported the first case of the novel coronavirus on the island, which brought the total number of confirmed cases in the Federation to 8. As with all other confirmed cases in the country so far, this case was travel-related, given the patient's travel from the UK on March 14th. A 24-hour curfew took effect in St. Kitts and Nevis on March 31st.
Despite a clear statement that all citizens must stay at home, except in certain very limited situations, the Police High Command has reported that many persons have chosen to disobey these regulations. Irresponsible behavior will not be tolerated. Offenders will be promptly arrested and charged. We will not hesitate to prosecute those found in breach of the emergency powers COVID-19 regulations.
The Alexandra Hospital, as well as the members of the security forces, received a gift of £1,000 of locally produced food on March 31st. The donation was made by the Ministry of Agriculture to the frontline workers who are seeking to mitigate the health crisis.
On behalf of the patients and the staff of the Alexandra Hospital, management, of course, we'd like to say a big thank you to the Ministry and Department of Agriculture.
This is a time when we are most likely to be on reserve and we have to spend long hours here at the police station. So, of course, in order to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, we need healthy food, and we are indeed grateful for some healthy food, healthy produce, local produce. And so once again, thank you to the entire team at the Ministry of Agriculture.
Stay tuned, there's more to come.